The buzzer sounds and a steel door slides open. The air hits you first bleach, sweat, and something metallic you will never fully identify. You are 22 years old. You have a name. In 48 hours, you will have a number. And in the years that follow, the number is the only part of you this place will remember. Level 1, the fish. You step off a transport van with shackles on your wrists and a chain around your waist that clinks against your hip bones with every step. The building swallows you. The hallway is long, and the fluorescent lights buzz at a frequency that settles behind your eyes like a low-grade headache that will not leave for 90 days. A corrections officer who has done this 10,000 times tells you to strip everything off. You stand naked on concrete that is cold enough to make your feet ache. You open your mouth, lift your tongue, turn around, bend, cough. You are not a person anymore. You are a cavity search. They hand you an orange jumpsuit, 2 sizes too large, and bedding rolled into a bundle that smells like industrial detergent, layered over something human and sour. Your cell is 6 feet by 9 feet. The toilet is stainless steel and sits 2 feet from where your head will rest. There is no seat. There is no lid. The mattress is 4 inches of compressed foam on a metal slab. And when you sit on it, the springs do not give because there are no springs. You listen. The noise is constant. Somewhere down the tier, a man is shouting about medication. Somewhere closer, a television bleeds canned laughter through a steel door. Boots squeak on polished concrete at irregular intervals. Every sound makes your shoulders tighten. You eat in a chow hall with 200 men seated at steel tables bolted to the floor. You are told where to sit. You are not told why. The food is lukewarm and beige powdered eggs, white bread, a fruit cup in syrup. You eat it in 6 minutes because that is how long you have. You keep your eyes on your tray. You feel them watching you. Not because they're hostile, because you are new. And new is a variable that disrupts an ecosystem built on predictability. Every man on that tier is reading you, your posture, your eye contact, the speed at which you eat, whether your hands shake. You have approximately 2 weeks before this place decides what you are connected or alone, useful or disposable, hard or soft. Not because anyone announces a verdict. Because the classification happens silently, through 1,000 micro-observations you cannot control. The person your mother raised, the kid who had a favorite song, and a girl who texted him good morning. That person dies in the first week, quietly, without ceremony. You do not mourn him because you cannot afford to. You are too busy learning how to survive breakfast, how to walk without looking lost, how to stand in a shower room with 15 other men, and appear unbothered while your nervous system screams at a volume only you can hear. This is not the most dangerous part. This is the audition, and you do not get to choose your role. The role chooses you. Level 2, General Population. The buzzer hits at 5:30 in the morning, and it is the ugliest sound you have ever heard, a flat electronic blare that bounces off every hard surface on the tier and lands directly in your chest. You will hear this sound every single day for the duration of your sentence. You will hear it in your dreams for years after. You learn to be standing before it goes off. Count. You stand at your cell door while an officer walks past and marks you alive. Breakfast. You file into the chow hall in a line that moves at a speed controlled by men with keys. Your cellmate breathes 4 feet from your face every night. He is doing 12 years for armed robbery, and he snores like a man drowning slowly. You do not choose him. You do not get to unchosen him. You learn to sleep in 90-minute intervals because that is how long it takes before his breathing pattern jolts you awake again. You get a job, kitchen detail. You wash trays for 12 cents an hour. 40 hours a week puts $5 on your commissary account. $5 buys 2 ramen soups, a packet of coffee, and a stamped envelope. Commissary is currency. Currency is safety. A man with nothing on his books is a man who owes someone eventually, and debt in here is not measured in dollars. It is measured in obligation. An obligation will devour you. You learn the yard. It is concrete and chain link, a rectangle of open air where men walk in counterclockwise circles along a cracked track. The weight pile is a congregation point, iron plates and rusted bars under open sky. You begin to train, not because you want to be strong, because your body needs somewhere to put the anger that has no other outlet. You sit where you are supposed to sit. You eat where you are supposed to eat. The racial and geographic architecture of this place is rigid and unspoken and absolute. Sitting at the wrong table is not an accident anyone will forgive. You navigate these rules without a manual, because there is no manual. There is only observation and consequence. Your family calls on Sundays. The phone costs $1.05 per minute, and privacy does not exist. You press the receiver to your ear and hear your mother crying quietly, and you tell her you are fine. You are not fine. Loneliness is a physical sensation in here. It sits in your stomach like a stone you swallowed. But showing it is not an option. Every interaction is transactional. Every friendship is conditional. Trust is a liability, and you learn this the way you learn everything here by watching someone else pay for it first. The future collapses. You stop thinking in years. You think in commissary cycles, count times, yard schedules. Planning 30 days out feels ambitious. Planning beyond that feels delusional. Your brain is being rewired for a world with no horizon, and you do not notice it happening because the rewiring feels like adaptation. It feels like intelligence. It feels like you are getting better at this. You are. That is the problem. Level 3. Solid. You have a name on this tier. Not the name your parents gave you, the one you earned. People know where you sit. They know when you train. They know not to change the channel when you are in the day room. This did not happen because you announced yourself. It happened because you handled a situation 18 months ago that nobody talks about openly, but everybody remembers. You have a routine now, and it belongs to you. You wake before the buzzer. You train at the weight pile at 7:15 every morning. Your body has changed muscle density built from years of iron and concrete and a diet that is barely sufficient but maximized through commissary protein and obsessive discipline. You sit in the same seat at the same table, and younger inmates flow around your space the way water flows around a fixed stone. You have a hustle. Maybe you ink tattoos with a motor pulled from a cassette player and a guitar string needle. Maybe you run a book point spreads on football games settled in commissary items. Maybe you are the man who can get a cell phone charged and returned within 4 hours. Whatever it is, it operates on a ledger only you understand, and debts are settled quietly, on time, without exception. Younger fish arrive every month, and they are told about you in whispers during their first week on the tier. They look at you with a mixture of fear and aspiration. You remember being them. That memory feels like it belongs to someone else. The guards know who you are. Some give you a nod that acknowledges your function in the ecosystem. Others mark your name in reports, flagging you as influential, which in administrative language means dangerous. You are neither. You are infrastructure. The kind of man who keeps a tier from burning down on a hot day in August when the air conditioning fails, and 200 men are locked in concrete boxes at 104 degrees, and the only thing between order and chaos is the quiet authority of people like you who say not today and mean it. But here is what no one tells you about becoming solid. The mask becomes your face. You cannot have a bad day. You cannot show doubt or exhaustion or the crushing sadness that hits at 2 in the morning when you stare at a photograph of your daughter that is 3 years old because she stopped sending new ones. Somewhere around year 3, you stop being able to cry. Not because you choose to stop, because the mechanism simply breaks. You do not notice this for a long time, and when you do, you file it away in the same place you keep everything else that could destroy you, a locked room in your mind that grows more crowded every month. Letters from home, slow to a trickle, visits thin. Your mother's health is failing, and you cannot hold her hand. Your daughter's voice on the phone sounds like a woman now, and you realize with a shock that you are becoming an abstraction to her. A voice on a phone, a name on an envelope, a man she is slowly learning to live without. You cannot let this break you. Breaking is not allowed. Not at this level. Not ever. Level 4, the hole. The door is solid steel. It closes with a sound that is not a slam, but a seal. Hydraulic, pressurized, final. The silence that follows is not quiet. It is a presence. It fills the cell like water filling a tank. Your world is now 8 feet by 10 feet. A steel bunk, a steel toilet, a steel sink, a slot in the door wide enough for a food tray and nothing else. The light is fluorescent, and it never turns off. It dims at 10 and brightens at 6, but it never goes fully dark, and it never feels like daylight. Time does not pass in the shoe. It accumulates. You are here because something happened on the tier, a situation that required a response. Maybe you gave an order. Maybe you threw the first strike. Maybe you simply refused to name the man who did. It does not matter. The administration does not distinguish between action and loyalty. Both are punished identically. 23 hours a day in this cell. 1 hour in a concrete exercise cage alone. A box with chain link over the top, through which you can see a rectangle of gray sky. That rectangle becomes the most important image in your life. You memorize the clouds. You track the light. You measure the passage of seasons through the color temperature of a patch of sky no larger than a bedsheet. You do push-ups in sets of 500. You pace 4 steps forward, 4 steps back. You read everything that comes through the slot. Legal briefs, donated paperbacks with missing pages. A Bible you read 3 times not for faith, but for language, for the feeling of words organized into meaning in a place designed to strip meaning from everything. You talk to yourself. At first deliberately, then automatically. Then you catch yourself mid-sentence arguing with someone who is not there, and you stop. You press your palms flat against a wall and feel the cold concrete, and you say your name out loud and your number and today's date, and this becomes a ritual you perform every morning to prove you are still anchored to reality. Communication happens through the vents. Men shout between cells at night, chess games called out in algebraic notation, legal advice passed move by move, sometimes just a voice asking if anyone is awake because the silence has become unbearable. You listen. You respond when you can. You hear men screaming. You hear men who have stopped making any sound at all. Both terrify you equally, not because of what they represent, because of how familiar they are beginning to feel. The human brain was not designed for this. Studies will later say that solitary confinement lasting more than 15 days causes measurable psychological damage. You are here for 14 months. When the door finally opens and they walk you back to general population, the noise of the tier hits you like a wall. 50 men talking, televisions competing, boots on concrete, doors racking open and shut. Your hands shake. Your chest tightens. You stand in the day room and men greet you and you cannot process the input. Proximity to other human beings feels like a threat your body cannot override. You are quieter now, more still, more patient, and somehow that patience reads as something else entirely: authority. You did not seek it. It found you because you survived what most cannot. The shoe did not break you. But it took something you will never get back. You just do not know what it is yet. Level 5. The shot collar. You sit at the same table in the day room every evening. Same seat, facing the door. No one taught you this, and no one needs to explain it. The seat was empty when you came back from the shoe, and it has been yours since. Men approach you, not quickly, not casually. They approach with the measured pace of someone entering an office they were summoned to. They sit across from you and speak in low voices about problems that need solutions. A debt unpaid on the second tier. A new arrival whose affiliation is unclear. A guard who is pushing too hard on cell searches and needs to be managed through institutional channels. You listen. You decide. Your word becomes what happens. This is not glamorous. This is middle management in a place where a wrong decision costs someone their teeth, their commissary, or their life. You manage between 30 and 60 men depending on the tier and the politics of the moment. You maintain relationships with leadership across racial and geographic lines. Men you respect, men you fear, men whose cooperation is necessary for the kind of stability that keeps everyone breathing. The CEOs know your function. Some rely on it quietly. A tier that polices itself is a tier that does not generate incident reports, and incident reports mean paperwork, and paperwork means oversight, and oversight means everyone's life gets harder. You are an unpaid middle manager keeping a volatile system stable so that the institution can function. You understand this. The irony does not escape you. It just no longer bothers you. Your days are structured around information. Who said what? Who owes whom? Who is using? Who is unstable? Who just got bad news from home and might be a risk to themselves or others? You process this constantly. A running calculation that never stops, not during meals, not during yard, not during the few hours of darkness when you lie on your bunk and stare at the ceiling and wonder how you became this. You cannot retire. You cannot take a day off. You cannot show favoritism, because favoritism creates fractures, and fractures become wars, and wars bring the extraction team and the shoe, and everyone pays. The loneliness of this position is unlike anything you have experienced. You are surrounded by men who depend on you, and not one of them truly knows you. They know the role. They know the function. They do not know that you lie awake, calculating the years and arriving at numbers that make your chest feel hollow. You are 38 now. You have been inside for 15 years. Your daughter is a woman you would not recognize on the street. Your mother writes less. The handwriting in her letters has changed shakier, smaller. You cannot visit her bedside. You cannot hold your grandchild. You are the most powerful man on this tier, and you are powerless in every way that matters. Not because the system punishes you, because the system uses you. You keep order so the prison runs. You are the machine maintaining itself. And the machine will never let you go willingly, because replacing you costs more chaos than keeping you costs in human suffering. You know this. You sit in your seat. You face the door. Someone approaches with another problem. You listen. You decide. Level 6. The old head. You are 51 years old, and you have been inside for 27 years. Your knees ache from decades of concrete under every step. Your blood pressure medication comes through pill line at 6:15 every morning, and you stand in a queue with men half your age who are taking medications for entirely different reasons. You move slower now, not because you are weak, Because urgency left your body years ago, and what remains is a kind of conservation, every movement deliberate, every expenditure of energy calculated against a body that no longer recovers the way it once did. You are no longer the shot caller. A younger man holds that seat. You endorsed him. You counseled him through his first month of decisions, watched him make mistakes you made a decade ago, and said nothing because some lessons only land when they cost you something. He comes to you still, late in the evening, sitting in your cell with questions he cannot ask in the day room. You answer some. Others you deflect with silence that he has learned to interpret as think harder. Your days have a softness to them that would have felt like weakness at 30, but now feels earned. You work in the library 3 days a week. You shelve donated paperbacks and legal reference volumes, and you know every title in the collection because you have read most of them twice. You tutor younger men for their GED. You teach them to write essays, and you correct their grammar with a patience that surprises you because patience was never something you possessed. It was something the institution installed in you, bolt by bolt, year by year. You sit in the chapel on Sunday mornings, not because you found God, because the chapel has wooden pews and a window that lets in natural light, real light, golden and warm. And for 45 minutes, you can sit in something that feels almost like a room a free person might occupy. New corrections officers arrive, who have never known this facility without you in it. Your name appears in their orientation materials. You are a fixture, a landmark. The man who has been here longer than most of them have been alive. Inmates call you OG, and they mean it without irony, without performance. You have outlived enemies. You have outlived friends. You have outlived entire administrations. And now, in the quiet that your status affords, the things you buried begin to surface. Regret moves through you like groundwater. Slow, constant, impossible to pump dry. You do the math you have spent 20 years avoiding. Your daughter is 32. She has a child you have seen only in photographs. You have been incarcerated longer than you were ever free. The world outside has changed so completely that the city you came from might as well be a foreign country. Phones are computers. Cars drive themselves. The music sounds like it was made by machines. You are not sure you could navigate a grocery store without panicking. This terrifies you in a way that nothing inside these walls ever has. Not because the outside is dangerous, because you are no longer equipped for it. And the most insidious thing is this: the walls no longer feel like confinement. They feel like structure. They feel like the skeleton of the only life you know how to live. The prison has become home. You know it is not, but you cannot remember what home felt like. And that absence, that void where a memory should be, is the heaviest thing you have ever carried. Level 7, the short timer. The letter arrives on a Tuesday. You read it 3 times, standing at your cell door before your hands stop shaking enough to fold it back into the envelope. A parole date, 14 months from now. After 28 years, the system has generated a date, a specific square on a calendar, when you will walk through the gate and into open air. You should feel joy. You feel vertigo. They move you into a transition unit. The cells are the same. The food is the same. The fluorescents are the same. But the programming is different. You attend resume workshops taught by a 26-year-old volunteer who has never been inside a prison before this job. She teaches you how to write a cover letter. You have not written anything except legal briefs and grievance forms in nearly 3 decades. She teaches you how to use email. You nod. You take notes. You feel like an astronaut being briefed on a planet you left so long ago that the atmosphere itself may have changed. They give you civilian clothes for practice. A pair of khaki pants and a button-down shirt that feels impossibly thin after years of jumpsuit canvas. You stand in front of a mirror in a bathroom, and you do not recognize the man looking back. He is 53 years old. His face is carved into lines that run deeper than age alone can account for. His hair is gray at the temples. His eyes look like they belong to someone who has been awake for 30 years. You practice conversations. A counselor role-plays a job interview. What are your strengths? What is your greatest weakness? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? These questions are so absurd in context that you almost laugh. But you do not laugh because you have not laughed spontaneously in longer than you can measure. The tear watches you differently now. Men who will never leave look at you with something that lives between resentment and hope. Resentment because you are proof that the sentence ends, and hope for the same reason. Your seat in the day room is already being measured. Your routine is already being absorbed by the ecosystem. You are a ghost before you have left. For decades, you suppressed hope, because hope in here is poison. Hope makes you soft. Hope makes you careless. Hope gets you hurt. Now hope is mandatory. The parole board requires it. The transition counselors require it. You are supposed to articulate a vision for your future, and the word future feels like a foreign language being forced into your mouth. You lie awake counting days. 90 days. 60 days. 30. Each one heavier than the last, because each one is a day where something could go wrong. An incident. A rule violation. A random search that turns up contraband you did not know was in your cell. Everything you have survived for 28 years can be erased in a single afternoon. You have something to lose now. And having something to lose in a maximum security prison is the most dangerous thing a man can possess. You visit the property room. They hand you a clear plastic bag containing the items you arrived with 28 years ago. A wallet, $47, a house key that fits a door that no longer exists, a photograph of a girl who is now a woman with a child of her own. You hold the bag, and the weight of it is nothing. The weight of what it represents is everything. 14 months, 13, 12. The gate gets closer. You're not sure you want to reach it. Level 8, the free man. The gate opens. You walk through it. The air on the other side is different. Not cleaner. Bigger. The sky is an open wound of blue stretching in every direction. And you have to stop walking because the space above you is so vast and uncontained that your balance shifts like the ground tilted. For 28 years, you have not stood anywhere without a ceiling. Your body does not know what to do with infinity. Someone drives you somewhere. A halfway house in a neighborhood you do not recognize, in a city that rebuilt itself while you were gone. Your room has a thin mattress and a window that opens. You sleep on the floor the first night, and the second, and the third. The mattress is too soft. The silence is too complete. There is no buzzer at 5:30. There is no count. You wake in the dark and stand at a door waiting for it to rack open, and it does not, because the door has a handle and you can open it yourself. And this fact, this simple mechanical freedom, makes your hands shake. You go to a grocery store. The fluorescent light is the same frequency as the institution, and for a moment you feel safe. And then the aisle opens into 47 varieties of cereal, and the colors hit your visual cortex like an assault. And you leave the store with nothing, and sit in a parking lot, breathing through your nose until your heart rate drops. Below 100. You report to your parole officer. She is 31. Your sentence is older than she is. She asks you to outline your goals for the next 90 days. You say the words she needs to hear. You apply for jobs. You check boxes on applications that ask, "Have you ever been convicted of a felony?" And the box might as well read, "Are you willing to be rejected?" Before anyone reads your name. You eat alone. You finish meals in under 4 minutes. People at the halfway house watch you eat and look away. You speak in the clipped, efficient language of the yard, and civilians hear something in your cadence that makes them create distance. You are fluent in a language that does not exist outside the walls, and illiterate in the one everyone else speaks. Your daughter agrees to meet you at a diner. She is 32. She has her mother's eyes in your jawline, an awareness that she carries, like a shield she built in your absence. She calls you by your first name, not Dad, your first name. You drink coffee across from her, and you want to say, "I am sorry," but the words are insufficient. They are insufficient because 28 years cannot be apologized for. They can only be carried. You walk home. You sit on a park bench, and the sun sets, and the city makes sounds that have no walls to echo from, and the openness feels like drowning in slow motion. You catch yourself missing the routine, missing the count, missing the structure that held you in place for 3 decades. This shame, missing your own cage, is the heaviest thing you have ever carried. Heavier than the shoe, heavier than the years. Not because it is irrational, because it is perfectly rational. The prison built the only version of you that knows how to function, and then it released that version into a world designed for someone else. You sit on the bench, you breathe, you keep going. There is no version of this story where you are whole. There is only the version where you do not stop. Somewhere right now, a 22-year-old is stepping off a transport van. His wrists are shackled. The chain around his waist clinks against his hip bones. The hallway is long, and the fluorescent lights buzz at a frequency that will settle behind his eyes for years. He is told to strip. He stands on cold concrete. He is handed bedding that smells like the last 3 men who used it. His cell is 6 feet by 9 feet. The toilet is 2 feet from his face, and every set of eyes on the tier is already asking the same question they asked you, "What are you?" He does not know yet. He will. The system does not need you anymore. It has already found the next one. The buzzer sounds. A steel door slides open, and somewhere on a park bench, a man who lived through every single level sits perfectly still, watching a van disappear around a corner, knowing exactly what happens next. Every single stage, because the walls do not end at the gate. The sentence does not end at the number. And the cycle never needed anyone's permission to continue.